Hello and welcome to my Cowboys family, a special edition of a Cowboys chat here with you guys. Don't forget to hit like for the stream, hit subscribe for the channel, keep growing the channel here, My Cowboys Family, and hit that notification bell so you know when we're going live on the nightly. And as we kick this thing off, guys, much love to our sponsor of the week and the Cash App King for the first time ever here, My Cowboys Family, Mr. Stewart. Appreciate you as always. We got Mark Hovsepian, the man always repping that star over everything in Hawaii, 98 points in the stream boss. And then on the overall board right now, currently, and on the Cash App side of things, currently, we have two leaders on there, two different people. We got first and foremost the Cash App leader, Jason Renfro. Appreciate you, man. He is in the lead currently. We'll see what happens tomorrow's finale as the Cash App leader, trying to get that crown from Mr. Stewart. And if you look above, you see the leaderboard, none other than Skeptical Fan, always staying skeptical. Much love to him. He's also the monthly gifting membership leader. As you can see there, 15 gifted memberships. Everyone must give the love to Skeptical Fan. He's actually in a tie with Mark Hovsepian at this moment, but that tiebreaker is right there above us. You can see it, 15 gifted memberships. Much love to Scorpio with the 1, and also, of course, much love to that star level membership. And above that, right now, it's 2 people only in it. You got the great Skeptical Fan, and on the other side of the world, you got Lincoln Kane. Much love on the star level membership crew. Appreciate both of you and anybody else who eventually gets in there as we get that kicked up here on My Cowboys Family. Get it started again on that side of things when it comes to the membership, the levels, and all that good stuff. Of course, we got the super chat back. We got the memberships. Still do that. You can gift memberships. We also have 4 other ways to drop the love here in MCF on top of the super chats, memberships, and all that good stuff. The Cash App, $ My Cowboys Family, Venmo at my-Cowboys-Family, PayPal. That's a direct drop there. MyCowboysFamily@gmail.com. And of course, if you want your message on screen when we're live streams, that's the way you can do it. Kind of the same thing as a super chat, but you're going through OBS Streamlabs, similar to PayPal as well. Much love to everybody who's kept this thing going here on the nightly for the last couple of months. But now we're heading into rookie mini camp, and we're almost done with it this week. We're going to talk about that today on this really quick Cowboys chat here and more as we open this up. You see me in my navy blue, silver, and star, always repping that star over everything. You know the deal here. Much love to everybody in the chat. Shout outs to everybody. You can still hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. And again, if you drop the love, the board will be updated for tomorrow's finale here for our Sunday night, end of the week stream. The wife, myself, on camera, not just our little picture here. Now, let me get it rolling here on a quick MCF, new kind of Cowboys chat this time around. So, Mike McCarthy, guys, rookie mini camp, of course, is today. And if you guys been following, again, it's Friday, kind of kicked off a little orientation style thing there. And then we saw a today more of a hands-on on the field kind of situation. The Cowboy players are on the field, and then tomorrow kind of wraps it up, and then we will, I'm sure we'll get a couple more, quotes and some more updates from the players and coaches on things after tomorrow's final, 3-day rookie mini camp, kind of indoctrination to the Cowboys. But I'm going to start off with let me see if I can show what I'm trying. Some pictures here, guys, of what the Cowboys had going on today, specifically because we're missing some people. Now, first and foremost, guys, Mike McCarthy. Yes, the big bubble right there next to me. Mike McCarthy, guys, was not taking part at rookie mini camp, not just today, but this entire week. He's not going to be there because he has recently underwent a back procedure. All right, so obviously he has a back issue going on. Not clear what the specifics are of that. Also not clear when he will be back to organize team activities, the OTAs. But those begin. Now this is just the first couple of days working back into things. He'll be back hopefully he'll be back for those actual on the field team activities, which begin May 22nd, about less than 2 weeks or so. So McCarthy's recovering from the surgical procedure they performed on his back earlier in the week. All right, so now we know that situation. Now, let's talk about what went down as far as on the field, right? Because the rookies and veterans not together yet. This is just a rookie mini camp. The veterans are not here. The veterans still working on their own, doing their own thing. So McCarthy not on the field, but the rookies and veterans will be back on that, May 22nd on the field working out. But also Monday, phase 2 of these OTAs begin, of the offseason, organized team activities, I guess you can say. That starts in 2 weeks, but the actual phase 2 of the offseason program continues on Monday, guys, in 2 days. And that would be, quote unquote, phase 2 of this program, where the rookies and veterans do work together, practice together. And like I said, guys, OTAs are in 2 weeks, and that's when they will be actually, you can say more hitting, more doing, the stuff that the coaches are teaching them to get done on that field in games, as they kind of, after the installs of the offense and defense kind of broken down to the rookies and veterans starting May 22nd. But yes, guys, on Monday, they start integrating together vets and rookies. Now, the return of McCarthy, like I said earlier, dealing with these back issues for some time, had this back surgery. It's not clear when he's back, but the expectation is that it's not going to be a long absence. Even rookie DeMarvion Overshown, guys, he said, quote, as in Mike McCarthy, quote, he's been on Zoom calls with us, and we know what he's going through and that he's going to be back soon. He's definitely been there, welcomed us like we were veterans. So again, Mike McCarthy did his welcoming of the rookies, is in Zoom calls and in contact with all the rookies, and I'm sure the coaches as well, but he's not at this, the rookie mini camp this week with that back surgery. So now, we got enough of the Mike McCarthy story, I guess you can say. Let's talk about what went down, because with McCarthy absent as he recovers from this back surgery, it was Jerry Jones and Dan Quinn who were the main guys that addressed the players at the start of rookie minicamp. And in fact, let me get McCarthy out the way here real quick, and I'm going to bring in some footage, I guess you can say, from today's rookie minicamp. And let's do it like this, guys. You can see here Jerry Jones kind of addressing all the rookies there. In white, the white jerseys are the offense, blue jerseys, navy jerseys are the defense. But Jerry Jones is doing this here, addressing the players. There is some other pictures of Dan Quinn addressing the players. Here you see some of the players, like Little Deuce 42. Man, he is tiny in a group of these undrafted guys. All these other guys around him are undrafted. Now, there's Deuce, number 42, taking the handoff from one of the invites, I think Micah. Again, here you see first round pick Mozzie Smith working some of the trench work there with those, with the I don't even know what to call them, those bags. But the point here is, here's Junior Fehoko, and Overshown here. Also, you're seeing them on the field doing their thing in today's practice, or in today's rookie minicamp. So, looking at this, guys, we heard from Dan Quinn. All right, Dan Quinn did speak today. And, I'll address some of these pictures maybe a little more, but as I kind of take a look at this and see what Dan Quinn said, this is what we're about. This is what today's stream is about, is what our coaching staff stated and said. And Dan Quinn, with Mike McCarthy not being there, said, quote, it's easy because Mike is always so clear, and he's like, hey, this is what we're going to do. So we had a real vision for what we wanted to get accomplished this weekend with these rookies and these guys. Again, Dan Quinn speaking, almost for Mike McCarthy's plan. Very clear, very, obvious what the Cowboys wanted to do with the rookies, and Mike McCarthy passed that along to all his coaches. They all know where he's leaving off at, and they're picking up the baton here. Dan Quinn kind of being the coach here. Again, remember, guys, he's head coach. It's great to have two head coaches on your team, right? So Dan Quinn set to go. McCarthy laid out the plans great. According to Dan Quinn, quote, it's just mainly taking those first steps, and I think Mike would agree. Let's not miss one step of these rookies' development and see what we have and how we communicate and testing them and seeing where they are at. And then we'll begin with Mike and everybody else here this week of merging everyone together. So if there was a time to miss for Mike, there's never a time he would feel comfortable. But we all know we got his back, and we'll get him back soon. There you go, guys. Dan Quinn speaking on the Mike McCarthy situation. Very clear instructions by Mike McCarthy. Everyone knows where he's got to be. If he's got to miss a week, this is the week to miss, because next week it's going to be about integrating the vets and the rookies together. And Dan Quinn is going to be very confident Mike McCarthy to be back and ready to go. So that's kind of the breakdown there on the Dan Quinn side of things, except for one last part of things, and that's on defense. Now, again, as you're seeing here, Deuce Vaughn, the rookie, but you've seen defensive players like Mozzie Smith, number 58 here. You can see, I say Junior Fehoko, Liami Fehoko, it's his full name there, but here number 93, doing some of that work there with Aiden Dirty from our defensive line coach, and then of course number 35, DeMarvion Overshone from Texas, the Longhorns. Now a Cowboy, his lifelong dream to play for both those teams, well, it came true. Jerry Jones addressing the Rooks. Dan Quinn spoke a little more. What did Dan Quinn say? Well, he clarified the situation with the great Micah Parsons, guys. Yeah, right there in the middle. Micah Parsons, because Dan Quinn clarifies the position situation. Remember at linebacker or edge, Micah says he's going to put up more weight because he's going to play edge all year. That's what he was saying. 100%, he was going to be 100% edge rusher, right? Well, not so fast. Dan Quinn clarified the situation with Micah Parsons. Now, here's the quotes from Dan Quinn. Quote, yes. Well, they asked him, is he going to be playing linebacker or is he a pass rusher? And he said, yeah, 100%. He is a pass rushing linebacker. That's what Quinn said to the group of reporters out there, guys. And he continued by saying, quote, so if you ever need position changes, come to me. I'm your man. I think what Micah was probably trying to say is that, well, I'm really emphasizing some pass rush moves into my off-season training, end quote. Now, basically what Dan Quinn's saying is that, look, when you guys talk to Micah, him taking the full-time role, he just trying to say that he's just going to emphasize his pass rush game more than being a full-time pass rusher. Now, you got to remember, guys, Dan Quinn also kind of stated that, he wants to have him being a movable, again, a pass rushing linebacker means he can come from the left side, the right side, over center, over guard, over tackle, wherever the hell you want to bring him, blitz, wherever you want to go, guys. And again, he said a pass rushing linebacker could be a edge blitzer. Again, in the 3-4, an outside linebacker is your edge rusher for the most part, right? So when you look at it, it's really just a term. It doesn't really matter what position Micah Parsons plays, except for getting paid, which we know edge rushers make much more than a linebacker would. But Micah Parsons is basically an edge rusher, an edge rush, a defensive end edge rusher. That's what he is, guys. That's what he's going to be. But Dan Quinn's plans is that he basically, in the way that Dan Quinn's kind of suggesting, is the Cowboys play positionless football on defense. You got to love it. And you got to say it's not a surprise. So, again, here's my thought on this quote by Quinn. When it comes to Micah Parsons and his future with the Cowboys going forward this year specifically as well, I believe that Dan Quinn simply wants to have Micah coming from different areas. So the offensive lineman, offensive scheme, the quarterback, the offensive lineman, nobody can target Micah every play. Oh, he's always coming from the right side. We'll figure that out. We'll chip him. We'll get the guys on the right side of our line and practice the whole week for that. That's stupid if Dan Quinn don't move him around. And that's what Dan Quinn is saying. He's like, look, we maybe don't want to lead on too much that he's going to be a full-time edge. But we also don't want to make sure that you understand, a full-time edge means he's coming from every single direction, not just he's always on the left side of our defensive line, he's always on the right side, or he's going to play the entire game only on that side of things. No, he's going to back up sometimes and blitz. He's going to back up sometimes as linebacker and pressure from the inside. He's going to go left side, right side, and the offensive lineman, the quarterback, and the offensive coordinators on opposing teams will struggle to keep tabs and see where Micah is. And as soon as you mark Micah on the left side, now he's on the right side, now he's in the middle, that's good, because you're thinking about Micah, you're forgetting about everybody else. And you can go to Marcus Lawrence all the way to Mozzie Smith. You forget about them. That's exactly, you triple team Micah if you want. Now you got to overload one side or the other. Now you're going to leave other guys with one-on-one matchups. And if you blitz at the right time, Dan Quinn will find that time to blitz. We'll get to the quarterback creating havoc on pass rushing downs for sure. So again, pass rusher, Micah Parsons still, to me, it's going to be similar as last year. He had like 170, 190 linebacker snaps, probably similar this year. Everything else will be edge rushing. And even at linebacker, he'll be coming from different directions, different angles and gaps. And I think you're going to see that from both linebacker and edge rushing. Dan Quinn's scheme, I love the positionless football scheme he's got going on. He's been doing it for a couple of years. Nothing's changing there. So Micah, he's going to be rushing that passer from different directions. Now, you see the pictures in the background. We'll address that one more time before we get out of here tonight. But I do want to go to our offensive coordinator, because he also spoke today, Brian Schottenheimer, guys. The Cowboys' new offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, had a couple of comments about the whole offensive system, all right? And Mike McCarthy trying to build this offense up. According to Brian Schottenheimer, he said, quote, look, the system is not broken. They won a lot of games here in Dallas. Mike McCarthy has been around for that. They've scored a ton of points. I have a ton of respect for Kellen Moore, Doug Nussmeier, Skip Pete, Joe Philbin, and those guys. Referring to, that was the offensive coaches that were let go this year, as in Kellen Moore, Doug Nussmeier, Skip Pete, and Joe Philbin. Not here anymore. But remember, guys, this guy here on the right of your screen, Brian Schottenheimer, he has been a Cowboy last year. He was playing the Bob McAdoo role in the office, behind the scenes, getting the offense ready for the opposing quarterback. The offense ready for the opposing defense against our quarterback, let's say. And he also was helping the defense, Dan Quinn, by giving him the breakdowns and the tendencies of opposing quarterbacks, that we would play that week. So that was his job last year under the star as a Cowboy. First year with the Cowboys. Now he's the coordinator, and he's basically taken the Kellen Moore spot. Pushed out, not by his fault, but pushed out guys like Nussmeier, Skip Pete, and Joe Philbin, and we replaced some of those guys. And we know that the play caller is still this guy for this year, Mike McCarthy. So yes, McCarthy's running the show. We're going to have 30-35% change, which means West Coast offense, a little flavor. About a third of our playbook will be West Coast offense styled, and the rest will be similar to last year. But who was here last year? Brian Schottenheimer. He knows the way this was run by Kellen Moore, and he's going to keep the language similar. So not broken. They're going to keep rolling with a little bit of about a third of a change, West Coast from McCarthy, and Schottenheimer is going to focus on play action and, maybe establishing the run a little bit more. But play action is what he likes to do, and that's something that's going to help Dak and this entire offense. Now, he also made a mention about never being in a situation like this before. Schottenheimer said he's never had to, be an offensive coordinator, but not calling the plays. Kind of like McCarthy when he first came to Dallas. He willingly said, "I'm not going to call plays," and Kellen Moore's installing the scheme, which I believe it all comes from Jerry and Stephen Jones. But all right, that's a guess, I guess. Either way, we know now McCarthy's calling the plays, which he's done now for the first time in his fourth year with the Cowboys as a head coach. First time ever going to call the plays and be the play caller at the same time. Brian Schottenheimer, as the offensive coordinator, he'll be helping with some of the stuff and some of the run schemes and some of the scheming stuff that McCarthy wants to do. But for the most part, he's out of the play calling side of things, which is rare for him. He's never really used to that. But he said, quote, "I'm really excited about it. There's no ego on my part. I just want to win." Well, we're going to expect that from you, Brian. Get ready. I do like what he did go into a little bit more, and we'll probably talk about this on Sunday's stream finale, anything that trickles through. But he did mention some interesting stuff about Luke Schoonmaker, guys, our second round pick for Michigan tight end, who's going to be replacing the Dalton Schultz spot, I guess you can say. Schottenheimer mentioned and re-spoke upon the stuff we spoke about here on MCF on our standalone video and some of our shorts we got about Luke Schoonmaker. That Schottenheimer is very excited about using that speed that he has, the athleticism he has, and Schottenheimer said this, he feels he can stretch defenses vertically with Luke Schoonmaker's speed. So we'll see if Schoonmaker and Schottenheimer can get something rolling. We'll see what happens. Now, I'll say this, guys, and this is, again, our last coach, definitely not the last guy that spoke, but our last coach to speak today is special teams. And it's interesting what he said when it comes to John Bones Fossil here, special teams. He talked about the kicking situation and the punting situation, believe it or not, punt returner. But John Fossil, guys, talked about the kicker situation for us, and I think that's the biggest thing in our mind. He said this about the only kicker we have on our roster right now, the only one, is Tristan Vizcaino. Here's what he said about our kicking situation. Quote, "We have Tristan on the roster. Anybody else on earth who is not on our team right now is currently under consideration." That's everyone, really. I think we have a lot of different guys that we're still looking at in the XFL, in the USFL, veterans on the street, younger guys who still haven't found their way. End quote. Now, that don't sound like what Jerry Jones said about looking for a veteran because they have less case of the yips. That means you shank them a couple times, it gets in your head. The veterans usually don't do that. Now we're still looking at XFL, USFL, and some veterans on the street. We know about the good veterans. We talked about them. We'll talk about them in a minute because he does mention 3 specific names, veterans, that we may be looking at, along with a 4th guy maybe you guys don't want to hear. But let me continue what John Fossil said, because as of this point, guys, basically what he's saying is Tristan Vizcaino sucks. And anybody on earth that's not on the Cowboys kicking is an option for Dallas as a kicker to challenge them, try to beat him out for that spot. So he continued. John Fossil said, quote, "It's probably the easier way to go. Because, again, this is about getting a veteran kicker." So they asked him, what about getting a vet? What are you going to, isn't that the easiest route? So John Fossil said, quote, "It's probably the easier way to go because you know what you're going to get. If you're going to bring them in, you have to be excited about what that is. There's veterans on the street right now. Let's face it. There's Mason Crosby. There's Robbie Gould. There's Ryan Suckup. There's a lot of guys who have performed in the NFL. And you weigh that against everything else. There's really no secrets of who's available out there at the kicker position. The good thing for us at the kicker spot is just being patient and deciding who that second guy we're going to bring in is going to be, whether it's now or in training camp. So we just got a breakdown of basically the Cowboys may sign someone now or just wait till training camp to bring in whoever's left on the street, quote unquote. The three names he mentioned that are veterans, I like all three of them. Ryan Suckup, formerly of the Bucks, and I think the Titans. Not a pretty reliable kicker, and I know he kicked a lot of field goals against us. And of course, Mason Crosby from the Green Bay Packers, connection with Mike McCarthy. To me, the best option, probably the most expensive option, Robbie Gould, formerly of the Niners and the Bears, fantastic kicker. I mean, a Pro Bowl kicker. He's a guy you can look at. You're probably getting $4 million for him, $3 million for Mason Crosby, and $2 million for Ryan Suckup. I don't know. Either way, you do it if you're the Cowboys, because we need to fix the kicker situation. And the guy that cannot be our kicker this year when we start, I don't care. When we start the season, it better not be Tristan Vizcaino. Well, I don't know what I'm going to say if that's the case. Now, Fossil also spoke about one more veteran who's been on this team for 2 different stints. you know what I'm going to say, guys. Fossil did not rule out the possibility of bringing back, brace yourselves, family, Brett Maher. Yeah, Brett Maher, guys, who had a great regular season before missing those 4 extra points in the playoffs. The 4 against the Bucks and then the 1 against the Niners the next week. It was crazy. It was talking about the yips. Fossil said, quote, in reference to Brett Maher coming back, quote, "I think everything is on the table. Let's face it, you look at Brett Maher, he had a great year, he had a bad game, but he played 22 games, had a bad game and a half. I think everyone's on the table, but I'm proud of what Brett Maher did here. If he gets a shot here or somewhere else, I'm sure he'll perform well." And that sends shivers through my spine, as it should send through your spines. I don't know if Fossil's, saying let's bring him back. I think he's just keeping all the doors open because he knows that and now his 4th year here with the Cowboys, he knows that Jerry and Stephen Jones are going to be cheap on that kicker for the most part. Although they brought his guy in, Zerline, obviously they ain't trusting him much more about that. So either way, you bring in Maher, you have to accept it. You look at the positives, I guess. I'm not going to be happy with that, but he has no choice, I guess, in this. When I hear names like Crosby, Suckup, and especially Gould, I say let's go for Gould and let's just make that move. It's worth it, because when you realize you can get knocked out of the playoffs because you missed an extra point, you say let's pay the extra $2 million for that kicker. I don't care what his name is, as long as he makes them, let's bring him in here. And I think we all can agree on that. Kickers do matter. They do matter, no matter what anyone tells you. They do matter. Now, what about punting and punt returns? We got Brian Anger, but what about returning the punts? We got Turpentine, guys. Of course, we got Turpin, but Deuce Vaughn, who can bring a different role, different thing to the table here, and I'll pop him up on the screen here for Deuce Vaughn. Mr. Fossil spoke about him. What is the plan with Deuce Vaughn? Well, according to John Fossil Bones, he said this about Deuce Vaughn's role, quote, "I want to get him some punt return work in right now, and also kick return work. I think there's some work for him in the punt protection, whether it's PP with or wing. That's the position of a punt protector, basically." And he said, or also like everybody else, I'm sorry, it's either PP or wing, and then like everybody else, let's see what he can do on kickoffs. So they're trying to find Deuce Vaughn anywhere in this team, starting with the special team side of things, kick returns, punt returns, punt block. Punt blocking, when we have to punt, he's over there helping, I'm assuming calling out the signals. Maybe he's the guy in the middle, but basically helping with the punt protection, and also on the wing if needed, but also on kickoffs as well, as a tackler, as another utility guy on special teams if you needed him. So again, right now it looks like they're starting him way at the bottom, which is what I told everybody was going to happen, and it's okay. It's okay to him start at the bottom because that's how you make this team. You go to special teams, and then you get yourself a nice solid spot in special teams. We can work him a lot better into this offense, which is you don't want a guy who's going to do only offense, and he's our second or third running back. You got to get him on special teams, and that's what the Cowboys, that's what John Fossil is trying to do with number 42. So finishing this thing up, guys, and now, yes, the last guy that spoke, maybe the most important guy here, Will McClay, who got all these rookies in. Vice President, I mean, he's basically the scout, the guy who runs all the scout stuff. It's interesting to hear what he said, guys, and I'm sure we'll have more on him tomorrow. But he shared his insight today on this draft class, and we've talked about all these players already in detail. But he talked about them as well. Said his thoughts on it. We'll bring more of that tomorrow. But he also addressed his interest in becoming. He wants to become an NFL general manager one day. You hear that, Jerry? Do you hear that, Jerry Jones? So, yeah, Will McClay addresses an interest in becoming an NFL general manager, not by fake title, but by actual title. Now, again, Will McClay currently is the director of player personnel for the Cowboys. He praised Deuce Vaughn, who we just spoke about here. We'll talk about him again. He seems to be the hot topic here, but he actually spoke a lot about Deuce Vaughn, the second sixth round pick we had in this year's draft. And he basically, people are saying that, he was only taken to make it a good feel-good story, and whether or not you think that's the case or not, Will McClay said that Deuce Vaughn was taken entirely because of his football ability, not anything to do with Chris Vaughn, his dad, being a scout for the Cowboys. McClay, he compliments Deuce Vaughn, and he had complimented him a lot in this discussion, but then he showed the comparisons, like the NFL comparisons, the NFL comps to Deuce, and what his scouting team brought to the table was that he compared to Tyreek Cohen, to Boston Scott, and to Darren Sproles. It all makes sense, guys. It all makes sense. Now, Will McClay finished up with what I think is the most interesting comment of his, really the day. Let's be real about this. Will McClay said this, quote, "We've got to win the damn championship to be considered the best front office in the NFL. That's the way I feel. That's what I'm driven by, is having the best process with the best group of scouts that helped with finding the best players that make us the best team." End quote. And I end this live stream with those comments there by Will McClay, because that is true, guys. We can say they're the best front office, but Howie Roseman is getting, overall as a GM, he's better than the Jerry Jones GM. But scouting, I give it to Will McClay over Howie Roseman. Still, the GMing role is something that he wants, that Will McClay wants to get one day, and he will not be satisfied as far as being called we're the best front office in the NFL. No, he does not say that. Will McClay says, no, we're not. Not until his team of guys, his scouts, can get those best players on the field. That, again, he didn't say the coaches, he didn't say the front office, because when they get involved, they don't develop the guys properly. The coaches, that's on the coaches. The front office wants to see certain guys out there, that's on the front office. When Will McClay does his job, he wants the players that he gets for the team, for the coaches, for the front office, to produce enough to win a Super Bowl, to win a championship, and then he will say, yes, we are the best front office in the NFL, and I would concur with that once that's done. Talk about earning the star. That's another way of the front office earning that star. Specifically, again, Will McClay's always been doing a great job. Specifically, the front office, as in Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones, and you guys know their name here. We say it all the time, whether you like it or not. They have been overall. This front office of Jerry and Stephen Jones have been the clown show. It's unfortunate until they get that championship on their own, not with Jimmy Johnson, on their own. We'll take that away. Until then, yeah, Will McClay's dropping some logic, some knowledge, and some facts, baby, some facts. So taking one last look at the pictures here, and that's overshown. Jerry Jones again addressed the Cowboy team on day 2 of rookie minicamp. All the rookies, the undrafteds, and a couple invitees right there. And the picture, Jerry Jones and no Mike McCarthy, Dan Quinn spoke with them. Here they are getting ready to go on the field. Everybody on this picture is undrafted except for number 42, Deuce Vaughn, 5'5". I mean, He's not even standing around really tall guys either. So Deuce is tiny, but Deuce is also loose. Getting a handoff from McKay, which is one of the invitees at quarterback. Deuce looking good out there. Of course, our first overall pick, Mozzie Smith, number 58, working the bags there with Aiden Dirty, the defensive line coach. Also here, Aiden Dirty working with Junior Fajoko, number 93, our fourth round pick, and then Overshone, our third round pick there, number 35. Working that linebacker, but he's going to be blowing people up, hitting, and run support style. So I'm excited about this whole thing, guys. I hope you guys are too. I hope we got you caught up here on a little bit of, I guess you'd say more of a special here, right? A special for us here on MCF and our little Cowboys chat bar. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. This was actually a bonus. We weren't going to even go live tonight, but we wanted to get some of this information caught up with. Tomorrow we'll elaborate more on this, have more of a discussion with you guys in the chat. And end this week, this Sunday night finale tomorrow here as the Cowboys wrap up rookie minicamp. Yeah, it's going to be a done deal, guys. And then on Monday, they start to get together, the veterans and the rookies, and they start to integrate together so that by the 22nd, they're hitting and they're getting everything on the field done that the coaches have been installing for the last couple of months. And that's a wrap here on My Cowboys Family. Much love to everybody in the chat, dropping the knowledge all night long. I truly appreciate anyone and everyone who dropped the love tonight, if anybody did. I don't know that, but you'll see us in the chat typing away, myself and the wife. So hopefully we've been keeping up with all your comments and thoughts. Much love to the sponsor of the week, Mr. Stewart, also the Cash App King, Mr. Stewart. Mr. Mark Hosepian, 98 points on the stream, boss. At least when we started this stream, wherever it's at now, you see it right above my head. And on the overall board, and in the Cash App board, the leaders this week, Jason Renfro leading the Cash App at the beginning of this stream. It'll all be updated if someone's jumped him. And, of course, on the overall board, Skeptical Fan, always staying skeptical. Got the monthly gifting leaderboard. He's the gifting leader right now with 15. And he's also tied in first place with Mark Hosepian. And that's why he has the slight edge over Mr. Mark Hosepian for that top spot, for that sponsor of the week. We'll see what happens tomorrow, Sunday, to close this thing out. But for now, guys, as you know, why we do this on the nightlies, that navy blue, that silver too, that star over everything. Never forget the number one thing right here. Yes, win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly, we're always repping that star over everything. But here on YouTube, here on My Cowboys Family, almost 6 years and beyond, never forget the number one thing here, now and forever. As always, say it with us. Go Cowboys! Hell yeah, guys. Let's get that 6 and beyond. Much love to everybody in the chat. Thank you for dropping your knowledge. Appreciate those that dropped that love from above. And we'll see you back all here tomorrow for another one. Relocked, reloaded as we drop out of here for the night, guys. Thank you once again. Hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. Appreciate the love and the support. Everyone, stay safe. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you tomorrow night. And as always, never forget, go Cowboys!